Hi, I'm Mike, and in this video I want to talk about guns in King of the Hill. We are waiting for a revival of the show, which is supposed to happen soon, so now it's a good time to look back and see which guns were owned by the characters during the original 13 seasons. Let's start with Hank Hill, the backbone of the Hill family. He doesn't own a lot of guns. He seems like a pretty casual gun owner, definitely not the type to stash pistols in every drawer like his friend Dale. But we'll talk about Dale later. Speaking of Hank, he owns a few guns. As a kid he used a pump-action rifle, Marlin Model 38, chambered in .22 long rifle. For sure that's a reasonable gun to introduce a kid to guns. In one emotional scene where he prepares to euthanize his beloved dog, spoiler, he doesn't go through with it, he loads the rifle. I think the animation made a mistake because that just simply doesn't look realistic. So we cannot say for sure what kind of gun it was, however, judging by the cartridge, which looks like 4570 government, we can guess it was some kind of old school hunting rifle. Another gun we see in Hank's hands is a pump-action shotgun. In this episode, he didn't really plan to use the gun because the shotgun was more of a ceremonial thing. And by the way, it appears that Hills actually have some pistol in their house, but we don't know what kind of pistol is it because it's in a gun safe brought by Bobby when they suspected an intrusion into their home. Now let's talk about Cotton Hill, Hank's father. He definitely was a character, and the guns he owned reflect his background as a World War II veteran. The first rifle we see associated with Cotton is possibly a Marlin 47. Later, we see Cotton's M1917, a military revolver chambered in 45 ACP. It's a bit of an odd cartridge for a revolver, but what can you do? It's a piece of the American Army's history, and Cotton Hill obviously owns one. By the way, this revolver was produced by both Colt and Smith & Wesson, but my assumption that Cotton owns a Colt. And honestly, for me it was a bit odd that in the box received by Hank after Cotton's death, there was some different revolver, not that one, because that's what I would expect. Cotton also seems to own something what looks like an M1 Garand. It's a standard US rifle in World War II and Korea. Of course it's an animated series, so it's just an assumption, but theoretically it could be something else, like a German Gewehr 41. Well, Cotton could bring it as a trophy from the war. This rifle is a bit surprising because it looks like something from the military, however it's a civil gun, it's Ruger Mini 14, tactical version with plastic furniture, so well, probably Cotton just bought it at some point. Later we see Cotton with a pump-action shotgun, again something classic, and I'm not surprised he owned one. Next is Bobby Hill, Hank's son and Cotton's grandson. In the first season, Cotton gives Bobby a 20 gauge Winchester Model 1200. A stainless steel pump-action shotgun. The gun is of course loaded and Bobby's mom, Peggy, is not very happy about it. In the first episode of the season 2, Bobby receives a rifle similar to Hank's childhood gun, Marlin Model 38 pump-action .22 long rifle. Later, Bobby is seen with lever-action rifle. I think it's a Winchester Model 94, though it could be some other lever-action rifle. Either way, it's a solid collection for a Texas teen. Now let's talk about Dale Gribble, the president of the Guns Club, the man most associated with guns in the series. Surprisingly, we don't see a lot of his guns in the first 2 seasons. In the 3rd season, we see the gun which obviously can be clearly attributed to Dale, and it's what appears to be a Colt Python, although it could be another revolver. In the same episode, we see Dale with a Remington Model 7600, a pump-action rifle, not a shotgun, which is uncommon but fits what we see. Later in season 3, Dale uses what looks like a Ruger Mini 14. Animation inconsistencies make it hard to confirm, but that's my best guess. In season 5, Dale uses a very recognizable M1911 chambered in 45 ACP. We can even see that the magazine actually holds 7 rounds. Here's also a scene with what I would call a Smith & Wesson Model 15, 38 special revolver, though the grip look oversized. In a Gun Club episode, Dale appears on a poster while holding a baby and a gun. I'm curious whose baby that is, because everything we know about Dale suggests that nobody would let him hold their child. Well, maybe it's an old photo of Dale and his son Joseph. Speaking of a gun on this poster, well, it's also a bit of a mystery. However, it resembles SIG P226 or possibly a Colt 2000, though it doesn't match perfectly. Later in the episode, Dale carries a Glock 19 and then what might be a Colt Detective Special. At the end of the episode, we can see that Dale also owns 2 Glocks 17. In Season 7, Dale tries to run an unlicensed gun shop, a topic for another video, I guess. In later seasons, Dale, surprisingly, appears with guns less often, but we still see him with the guns, for example Glock 19 in Season 11, and some semi-automatic shotgun in Season 12. Now let's cover a few side characters who used guns in King of the Hill. First of all, let's start with Buckley, Logan's boyfriend from the first seasons. We did not see him with a gun, however at some point Logan mentions that he owns a 38 special handgun, which I assume is a revolver. To shoot her first deer, Connie Sufanusifon used something what looks like a modern synthetic stock bolt-action hunting rifle. The one who is the real shooter in this family is Min, Connie's wife, Connie's mother. We didn't know about that till the season 12, when she appears to be a sharpshooter, and at some point she brings Glock 17 in her purse. However, in that scene it looks like she broke every single gun safety rule, so well, don't do it like that, please. Getting back to the episode when Connie shot her first deer, Joseph Gribble did the same and did it, as we can see, with something what looks like a Ruger Mini 14. That's a semi-automatic rifle, and I wouldn't say it's very classy for hunting, but honestly I am not a hunter, so maybe somebody else has a different perspective. Hank's boss, Mr. Strickland, owns what he called Italian scattergun. While we can't name for sure the exact model, I would suggest something like Pedersoli La Bohemienne 12 gauge side-by-side 28-inch barrel shotgun. Well, it's impractical but extremely elegant and expensive. Dale's, let's call him a business partner, Octavio, uses a revolver, and I would assume that's something like Smith & Wesson Model 686, probably with a 6-inch barrel. During these 30 seasons, a lot of celebrities appeared in this show, however, the only one who had a gun was Jimmy Carter. Yes, the President of the United States. He was carrying on his ankle Walter PP, as he said he was forced to do it by the Secret Service. Dale Gribble's father, a gay cowboy, owns 2 revolvers and uses them during his shows. Of course they could be some prop guns, but to be honest it's Texas, so whatever, I assume they are real. So that's pretty much it for today. If you have any other assumptions about the guns I showed in this video, please share your thoughts in the comment section, and if you liked the video, please press the like button, and maybe I'll make another video where I will show more guns from King of the Hill, police guns from the series, guns owned by gun club members, etc. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.